A woman who survived being shot 10 times has a warning now for other women tonight.
Her ex-boyfriend kidnapped her, shot her, then drove her through multiple counties. And now she hopes she can inspire women to leave abusive relationships.
On November 2nd, 2024, a 23-year-old mother named Shamay Pitt made a decision that almost cost her everything. She agreed to meet her ex-boyfriend just to talk. Within minutes, she'd be shot 10 times, kidnapped, and left fighting for her life in ways most of us can't even imagine. But here's the thing, she survived. And her story? It's one we all need to hear. If you're new to shadow crime, do me a favor real quick. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on that bell icon because stories like Shamay's, stories that need to be told, that's what we do here. Now let's get into it. So, who was Shamay Pitt before that terrifying November day? She was just a regular young woman trying to make it work. 23 years old, living in DeKalb County, Georgia, and doing her best to raise her young son who's autistic. Being a single mom is hard enough, right? But raising a child with special needs? That takes a whole different level of strength and dedication. By all accounts, Shamay was devoted to her boy. Her whole world revolved around making sure he was okay, that he had what he needed. And then there was Joshua Woodruff. He was 25, and at some point he and Shamay had been together. We don't know all the details about their relationship, how long they dated, what their good times looked like. But what we do know is that by November 2024, they'd broken up. They were exes. And if you've ever been through a breakup, you know how complicated that can be. Sometimes people stay friends. Sometimes there's drama. Sometimes one person just can't let go. On that Saturday in early November, Joshua reached out to Shamay. He wanted to talk. Just talk, he said. And look, I know what you're thinking. Why would she agree to that? But here's the thing we need to understand about situations like this. When you've been with someone, when you've shared part of your life with them, it's not always easy to just cut them off completely. Maybe she thought they could have a civil conversation. Maybe she thought closure would be good for both of them. Maybe she just wanted to be kind. Whatever her reasons, Shamay said yes. She picked him up in her car. They were on Snapfinger Road in DeKalb County. And at first, maybe it seemed fine. Maybe they were just talking like he'd promised. But then something shifted. We don't know exactly what was said or what triggered it. But suddenly there was a struggle in that car. And then Joshua Woodruff pulled out a gun. Think about that moment. You're sitting in your own car with someone you used to trust, someone you used to care about. And in an instant, everything changes.
A woman who survived being shot 10 times has a warning now for other women tonight.
Her ex-boyfriend kidnapped her, shot her, then drove her through multiple counties. And now she hopes she can inspire women to leave abusive relationships. Channel 2's Audrey Washington is live at DeKalb County Police Headquarters in Tucker tonight. And Audrey, this survivor told you the ordeal went on for hours.
Right, she told me her ex-boyfriend drove her around for hours while she sat in the passenger seat of her car, bleeding out from 10 gunshot wounds.
I'm sorry.
Shamay Pitt did not think she would survive it.
Right here, I have a bullet wound.
She says on November 2nd, in a fit of rage, her ex-boyfriend Joshua Woodruff shot her 10 times.
I see the inside of me on the outside.
Pitt tells me she agreed to meet with her ex to talk. She says that conversation turned violent and there was a struggle inside of her car.
He steps back, he steps forward, and he starts shooting me. My ears are ringing, but I come into realization that he's shooting at me.
Pitt says Woodruff then drove her from Snapfinger Road in DeKalb County to Douglasville. At one point, she says she heard Woodruff make 2 phone calls.
Basically asked them what to do with my body. I'm scared. I asked him, can I just write? Can I just write a letter to my son?
Pitt says Woodruff eventually abandoned her at a hospital while paramedics rushed her to another hospital in critical condition. Security detained Woodruff. Police charged the 25-year-old with aggravated assault and false imprisonment. Pitt's mother says she wants the charges upgraded.
He needs to be charged for bringing over county lines. He needs to be federally charged for having an automatic switch, which is a federal offense.
A few days ago, the Fulton County DA said Atlanta is under a domestic violence epidemic with nearly 1,000 2,000 felony cases pending. Pitt says she hopes more people in an abusive relationship will get out before it's too late.
You see that red flag, run away.
And Woodruff is due in court tomorrow. As for Pitt's hospital bills, they are extensive. Her friends and family, they are holding a fundraiser for her on December 2nd. There's also a GoFundMe page to help with some of those expenses. Though that link to the GoFundMe page can be found on our website. That's WSBTV.com. And we are live tonight here in DeKalb County. I'm Audrey Washington, Channel 2 Action News.
Audrey, to survive that and to have the strength to talk about it in the hopes of helping other people, just amazing bravery. Thank you.
He started shooting. Not once, not twice, 10 times. 10 bullets tore through Shamay's body while she sat in that passenger seat. Can you even imagine what that feels like? The shock, the pain, the absolute terror of realizing that someone you once knew, someone you thought you could trust enough to meet with, is actually trying to kill you. But here's where this gets even darker. Joshua didn't just shoot her and run. He didn't call for help. He didn't panic and try to fix what he'd done. No! He got behind the wheel of her car and he drove. With Shamay bleeding out in the passenger seat, he drove her from DeKalb County all the way to Douglasville. That's not a quick trip, guys. We're talking miles and miles while this young mother is literally watching her life drain away. And Shamay? She was conscious through all of this. Let that sink in for a second. She was awake, aware, and she could see what was happening to her body. In one interview later, she described seeing the inside of herself on the outside. Think about how traumatic that is. You're looking down at your own body, and you're seeing things no person should ever have to see. She knew how bad it was. She knew she might not make it. During that drive, Shamay begged him. She begged Joshua to just lay her down on some grass so she could breathe. She told him she didn't want to die in that car. At one point, she even asked if she could write a final letter to her son, her baby boy, the little boy with autism who needed his mama. She wanted to leave him some last words, something to hold on to when she was gone. That's what was going through her mind. Not anger, not revenge, just love for a child and a desperate wish that he'd know she was thinking of him at the end. Now I want you to think about Joshua for a minute. What's going through someone's head when they're driving around with a person they just shot 10 times? Is it regret? Is it panic? Is he trying to figure out what to do next? Because here's what's wild to me. He eventually decided to take her to a hospital. After hours of driving her around while she bled and begged and tried to hold on to life, he drove to Wellstar Douglas Hospital in Douglasville. He pulled up and dropped her off. Just left her there at the entrance. And you know what happened? The security guards, they weren't stupid. They saw what was happening and they detained him right there. They held Joshua Woodruff while Shamay was rushed inside. She was in such bad shape that they had to transfer her immediately to Kennestone Hospital for emergency surgery. The doctors had to work fast to save her life. And somehow, against every odd stacked against her, Shamay Pitt survived. 10 gunshot wounds, hours of bleeding, the trauma of watching your own body fail you. She made it through that operating room, and she's still here to tell her story. Now, let's talk about what happened to Joshua Woodruff. He was arrested right there at the hospital, and initially he was charged with obstruction. Just obstruction. Can you believe that? But as investigators started putting the pieces together, reviewing the evidence, looking at what actually happened, those charges got upgraded. He's now facing aggravated assault and false imprisonment. And honestly, a lot of people think more charges should be coming because this wasn't just an assault, this was attempted murder in the eyes of many who followed this case. Joshua is being held at Douglas County Jail on a $10,000 bond. His attorney actually filed a motion to reduce that bond, but then something interesting happened. They withdrew it. He's staying in jail while this case moves forward, and investigators are still reviewing evidence from multiple jurisdictions since this crime literally traveled across county lines. But you know what gets me about this whole thing? Shamay is home now, but her fight isn't over. She can't walk. She needs help with basic things most of us take for granted. This young woman who was just trying to raise her son and live her life now has to relearn how to do everything. The physical therapy, the rehabilitation. The medical bills piling up. Her community in southeast Atlanta stepped up, though. They organized a fundraiser on December 2nd at East Atlanta Village. There's a GoFundMe helping with her medical expenses. People recognize that this woman needs support, and they're trying to give it to her. And here's what really strikes me about Shamay. She could have stayed quiet. She could have hidden away and just focused on her recovery. But instead, she's speaking out. She's doing interviews. She's telling her story because she wants to warn other people. Her message is simple but powerful. If you see that red flag, run away. Don't give them another chance. Don't meet up just to talk. Don't convince yourself it'll be different this time. Run. Because think about it. How many times do we ignore those warning signs? How many times do we talk ourselves into giving someone the benefit of the doubt when our gut is screaming at us to stay away? Shamay probably saw signs. Maybe she ignored them. Maybe she thought she could handle it. And look what happened. So let me ask you this. What makes someone pull a trigger 10 times on a person they supposedly cared about? What kind of rage or control or twisted thinking has to be going on in someone's mind to do that? And here's the even bigger question. How many Shamays are out there right now in relationships with their own Joshua, seeing red flags but not running? Domestic violence doesn't always show up with bruises at first. Sometimes it's control. It's jealousy. It's someone who can't handle being told no. It's someone who feels entitled to another person's time, attention, or life. And by the time it escalates to violence, sometimes it's too late. Shamay got lucky, if you can even call surviving 10 gunshots lucky. But so many others don't make it. So many other families are planning funerals instead of fundraisers. If this story hit you, if it made you think, if it made you realize something about your own life or someone you know, do something about it. Share this video. Talk about it. And make sure you're subscribed to Shadow Crime, because these are the stories that matter. These are the warnings we need to hear. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you think. Should Joshua Woodruff be facing attempted murder charges? What do you think was going through his mind during those hours driving around? Let's talk about it down below. And if you or someone you know is in a dangerous relationship, please reach out for help. There are resources. There are people who care. Your life matters. Don't be the next story we have to tell.